Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Megan Hall and we are talking about Brightspace. So our first video, we looked at this little button up here, how to create your profile, how to set your account settings, and how to set your notifications, and how to view your content as a student. Then in the second video, we looked at going into a course shell and creating a home page for that course shell. Today, we're going to talk about creating announcements and also emailing students. So those two basic forms of communication that we have with our students. And again, I'm going to be toggling between the two sandboxes that they have. This one has nothing in it, and then we have another one with fake student data. And then I might show you also some things from Brightspace that's completely set up with students and show you how that looks. So let's get started. So this is my home page for a college composition course. It is 8 weeks long, and I'm going to click here, view all announcements, but you notice in the widget, it just shows some of the recent. But here are all the announcements that I've published. I really like the easy way that you can get to these in Brightspace. My internet's a little bit slow right now, so they're taking a bit of time. There we go. There's me talking. So you can kind of see from these, you have a lot of different options as I'm scrolling through. You have a lot of different options for announcements. It's nice that the announcements page, students can see everything that you've sent. And it's very, very easy to set up an announcement in Brightspace. I think a lot easier than what we have been used to. So you can just click to create an announcement if you have the widget here on your homepage. If you don't, you can go here to Course Tools and click Announcements. So two easy ways to get there. So I'm going to create a new announcement. And my headline. I like to send out extra resources for a module in case I'm explaining things in a way students might not understand. They can have some additional resources or some help. So I'm going to have my headline here be additional resources for, let's say, week 2. Then you can add your content. So let's say that I want to give some information about citation. So I'm just going to say, hi everyone, here are, I'll pause this. Okay, so I'm back. I typed in a bunch of stuff about citation. I also used this little button right here to use my whole screen because I think that's a little bit easier. So a few things here. Once you have the information in, if you want to do headings, you can. This is especially helpful for people who have assistive technology because it reads things as a heading. So I'm going to put here APA citation. It's also visually a little bit easier to see. You can change very easily the color here. I'm going to use that. Now, it tells you percentages, what the contrast is. If you have something, let's see, that shouldn't really, there we go. If my contrast is too light, it'll show down here, and see how it's not good contrast. That means that you might be picking a color that doesn't stand out enough against the white so that anybody with a visual impairment might not be able to see it. So it's something that is built in, again, that we didn't really have before. There we go. No, yes. But it's this really nice tool that helps with making things accessible for everyone. So I'm going to add that in for APA citation, and then I'm going to copy and paste that same heading here. Whoops, I just made everything a heading. Sorry. And here I'm talking about MLA citation. There we go. So now I have a few headings in my announcement, which chunks up the information and which helps everybody, right? And then it also helps people with assistive technology. Now, I still think that this is a bit of a big chunk of information, so I'm going to use the bullet list here. A lot like Microsoft Word, you can bullet it, you can number it, you can increase the indent if you just want to indent it. Boom, boom. I'm just pressing enter to get those bullets. So now I have a nice little bulleted list instead of this weird arrow that I had typed in. And I have very clear headings. So I'm going to do the same thing here for MLA citation. Bullet it. And make a new bullet there, and I'll make a new bullet there. That's it. Then you'll see that I have something here in all caps. Well, that's a website that I want to link students to. So I'm going to make another headline so they actually see that website information. Additional resource. Let's make that a little bit more specific. Websites for more information and help. Okay, I highly recommend this website. Okay, so it's the online writing lab at the OWL Purdue. So I'm going to go over to the OWL at Purdue, and I'm going to copy that URL by highlighting it and pressing Control-C to copy. And then I'm going to highlight my text, and here pops up automatically to link. And I'm going to paste the link in and then click out. Click that link. There we go. Now it's in blue. So it comes up automatically and people can click on it and go right to, go right to that website from this email, from this announcement rather. A couple other things up here. You can see insert stuff. I love it. Let's see. Let me say that I have a YouTube video actually about this on my channel. So I'm going to click to insert the YouTube video. Okay, so this is my YouTube channel. I'm going to go into my playlist for College Comp. I'm going to pull up, obviously, let's see, let's just do the MLA. Okay. Sometimes the thing up here, if you notice, this is coming up within the list. So if you have something on YouTube that's in a list, you don't want to share the entire list. You just want the video. So you're going to click share and again, copy, and then we're going to paste that in. Here's my result. And I'm going to highlight it in blue, click next. And the source comes up and then also the preview so that I know that that's the video, and I'm going to click to insert. Okay, now the MLA video is in there. You can put another video next to that or a picture. I find it a little bit difficult to get the text to wrap. So that is just something to note. So let's say I want that APA video next to it. I'm going to pause it so that I don't talk over me talking. And I'm going to click share, copy the link, insert stuff, add YouTube, paste the link, search, click, next, and insert. There we go, right next to each other. So let's amend this. Videos and websites for more information and help. Now let's say that I want these centered. Well, I can go up here and I can click to center them. And maybe I want that centered too, just so it looks kind of nice. There, that's it. That's all you have to do. So the insert stuff button, there are a lot of other things you can insert as well. You can see in here something from your computer. You can insert a file. So if you want students in the announcement to have a file, say it's a a story or an explanation or the rubric for the assignment coming up and you just want them to have that in another place, you can add that too. You can also insert a link here. I showed you how to do it by highlighting text, but you can also insert a link by just putting in the link right here. So let me go down below and let's say I want that. Now everything's centered. Well, we're going to left. There we go. Okay, so let's say that I just want that, that link here. I mean, you can just copy and paste just like that. The problem is that in terms of accessibility, if you have somebody with a screen reader, it's going to start reading this to them. HTTPS : all of that. So that's why it's better to write words or to use this insert link here. If I go down, insert link, paste, next, then it asks me what I want the text to say. So OWL Purdue's MLA citation explanation. And I'm going to insert it. So that's what it comes up with. So now the screen reader reads OWL Purdue's MLA citation explanation instead of that whole long website. So it's quite a bit better for people using that assistive technology, just something to keep in mind. You can also put in pictures using this insert image. I wouldn't do all of that in here, but I will for our purposes today. So let's go over here to this picture. You can do it in a couple ways. You can copy the image and just hit paste and then resize it if you want, and then choose the orientation. So there we go, like that. You can also use this button to insert from your computer or from a file, a course file. But again, this is something that sometimes worked in Blackboard and sometimes didn't. I find it's quite a bit easier here. And yeah. So other things you can insert: equations. You can create tables with a certain number of rows and columns and that kind of thing. And then you can also have dividers. So if I wanted, like here, a divider between APA and MLA, just to have that little bit of a break, I could add those in as well. So that's something to consider. And lastly, before you send out your announcement, you can check it for accessibility. And here, success, no issues detected. Okay. And I'm going to shrink this back down and we are ready to send it out. Now, here's the thing. First, this is very cluttered and I would not do this in a real message. It's got a little bit too much stuff in it. But regardless, once you're ready to set up your announcement, you can pick your start date. Now, Blackboard had this ability as well. The issue with Blackboard is that when you set up a start date, it would appear automatically on Blackboard, but it would not automatically go into their email. So here, you could set up your announcements for the entire term. I typically go a couple weeks ahead of time, and then you have to be on top of it if you do that, because if anything changes, you need to know, right? But you can have your start date. We can set this for, let's say, tomorrow at bright and early, 7 a.m. You can also add attachments. So again, if you want to add a file, if you have audio, you kind of want to explain a concept. If you have video, you can attach those as well. Again, be aware of students who might have accommodations where can they hear the audio, can they see the video, all of that. But that's basically it. Then you put publish and you wait, depending on how fast your internet is. And there it is, that whole announcement. With all of the, it shows up a little bit differently here than it will in their email. And it also shows differently. You should know if students have the Pulse app, they are only getting the text version of this. So I would use images just decoratively. And if you have videos in your announcement, make sure to put like, please click to go to Brightspace to see the full announcement so that you can access the videos. Because they're only going to get the text that I put in the app. So that's just something to be aware of. Okay, the other nice thing about Brightspace is that you can click your announcement. Now you can delete it, like say you had to miss a class. Let's say there was a snow day. You wanted to post that, but you don't want students getting confused. You can just delete that message once that's done, or you can set an end date for the message. Another thing, though, that you can do here is you can edit. You can reorder things if you want, or you can edit your announcement. So when you edit your announcement, it tells you when it's scheduled to be published or if it was published already. When you go in to make your edits, like let's say I'm like, look, we don't need this picture. Maybe I really only want them getting MLA citation and not just MLA plus APA, whatever the case may be. So you make the edit, you can click this box, major edit, send a notification, and restore for those who dismissed it. So if a student sees the announcement a second time, they might not look because they've already seen it. But let's say I sent out, which did happen this year, I sent out an announcement with the wrong due date. In Blackboard, I could edit and resend, but that didn't really work because a lot of students had already seen the notification. So here, instead of creating a whole new announcement, explaining the mistake, etc., all you have to do is click major edit and students are notified so that they can look at it again. And that is all you have to do. And then you click update. So that's basically it. Really user-friendly. I think the best part about sending things this way as announcements in Brightspace is that a lot of it is already accessible. So we don't have to go through hoops to make sure that things are accessible because they already are. Just making sure that we do things like adding those headings, embedding a link in text, which also makes sure that you make it clear that it is a link. But having those things, that's really all you have to worry about. It checks pictures, it checks, the color of text, all of that for you. And again, there is that thing to click to make sure that it's accessible. So that's how you do an announcement in Brightspace. The other way that we communicate with students is through email. And there are a couple ways that you can access their email. The first is to go into the class list. Now, this is our fake students that SUNY has set up for us. And right here in our class list, you can click a student's name and email them. That's it. One of the nice things, I don't know if we'll have this, but they do have it at other institutions. They have the option when you email a student to also email their advisor. So if it's an issue like they haven't been showing up, not their advisor, I'm sorry, their academic success coach. So if it's an issue like they've missed classes or, they were doing well and now they're not, or they need to be connected with tutoring, or they've indicated that they need that student emergency funds for books, whatever the case may be, you can email both the student and their academic success coach at the same time. You can also send an email here. Now, impersonate is only because this is a sandbox. Just be aware of that. And there's some other things here like editing accommodations, which let's say that CJ needs double test time. There we go. Now he's set up for that, and you don't have to do it on every single assignment. So that's another really nice use of technology here in Brightspace. You can also email multiple students. So let's say that I just need those well, not Christy, just those two, I want to email them the same thing, or you can email the whole class by clicking the button here at the top. Another way that you can email the class list, everybody in the class again. And if you just want to email, say you're working on a class with another instructor, you can just email them as well. Another way that you can access email is through grades. So if you go into grades again, I think it's a really, really nice feature where you can look, and anybody who has maybe below a certain point you want to reach out to them, you can do that. So here we're going to email Amy, and it pops up Brightspace demo. And you'll notice too, let me email Amy and Christy. You'll notice too that it's auto-populated for them to be in blind carbon copy. So if you want to reach out to them and just say, hey, I noticed that your grades are currently below such and such, or you missed the last assignment, you can do that, but they don't see who else you're emailing. So that's a nice feature as well. The other thing that you need to know about email is that this does not work like Blackboard. I think I mentioned this in a different video, or I might have said this already. But the thing about this is that all of the emails go through our email system. So they go through Outlook, and you can have your profile set up with your account settings and your notifications to have it set up so that the emails, anything that you send from here is copied to your email so that you have a record of what you said to students. You can check in here as well, but I think it's a lot easier. Whereas, we had a lot of conversations about Blackboard, like, there's course messages and students don't see those, but then they, or they see those, but they don't check their email, or whatever the case may be. Here, you're using the system to email them pretty quickly, but the actual communication is back and forth through the actual email, and it's not in this system, which I think is sort of convenient. So that's it. For this particular video. We looked at how to create an announcement. We talked about how to make sure that announcement is accessible, and we also talked about how to email students both from that grades tab and also using the class list tab to email either individual students or groups or our entire class list. So that's it. Next time, we're going to talk about how to set up the modules inside your classroom shell. So from the home page, which we talked about already, now we're going to talk about the actual course content. So that's coming up. But I hope that this was helpful. Thanks, everyone.